stuff during the break. So he is the CEO of Go Aigua, which is a US subsidiary of the Spain-based smart water company that is transforming utility into smarter, more proactive and resilient, and that fits very well with the conference theme. He graduated in civil and environmental engineering at University of Valencia and UC Berkeley. After working in Valencia city water system, that means he has a utility experience before coming into the technology. So I will not take a lot of his time. So Pablo, you can present now. Already I'm seeing your screen, so you're good to go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm thrilled to be here sharing what we've done and the things that we are doing for other utilities apart from the ones in Europe that we are serving already. So today I'm going to share a transformation story, how from a utility operation we became a software and analytics company that's helping many utilities solve problems in the smart one water world. And I'm going to walk you through the case of the city of Valencia in Spain, which is one of the largest cities that we manage as a utility and as a smart company, and that is one of the cities that adopted many of these technologies very early on. It's a relatively big city with 1.5 million population approximately. So to begin with, I'm going to tell you a little bit of what we are and where we come from. So we originally come from a water utility operation called Global Omnium. It's a private company that has about 3,000 employees and operates approximately 400 utilities, water and wastewater systems, mostly around the country in Spain, being the largest one, the city of Valencia that I just talked about. So as a utility operator many years ago, in the 2000s, we were facing fundamental challenges that many utilities are also facing or have faced at some point in their lifetime. No, challenges related to the water scarcity. It's a very the weather is very, very similar to the one in California. So we have a lot of long droughts every once in a while. Informational silos, and that was a big challenge that we were having, especially as we started investing in technologies like smart metering. We have, for example, one of the first smart metering deployments in Europe with about 700,000 smart meters in 2008. And that was creating a lot of silos between the OT world, the smart metering people, the SCADA people, etc., etc. And then finally, the most important one, the generational gap, the generational gap that we had at the time that posed a huge risk to us as a utility, because many of these people were going to retire soon, and they were going to leave the company with the know-how that they had acquired over the years. So we embarked ourselves in a really big digital transformation that started in the year 2005 approximately. And over this big transformation, we did a lot of things, but among other things, we worked a lot in changing our processes. We worked a lot in changing our IT architecture, evolving it into a web-based data-centric architecture. And then we also worked a lot in developing a set of solutions or modules to help ourselves solve these key challenges that we had. And that's how we became Go Aigua, a software and analytics company that is actually not only helping ourselves as a utility, but helping about 400 utilities worldwide overcome different challenges in smart water. These are some of the modules that we have developed as a company. I won't go in detail in all of them, but some of the challenges that we are actually helping utilities solve are related to how they can optimize the non-revenue water, detect anomalies through analytics, optimize energy, improve the operational efficiency from their work operations, improve the asset management and planning, improve water quality, project water quality in the future, integrate all these data together to extract value out of it, and for example, integrate integrated SSO and CSO management and forecasting. So this is the city of Valencia, and I'll walk you through some of the case examples or use cases that they do with all this platform that we had deployed there some years ago. So Valencia City serves water and wastewater to about 1.7 million citizens, including the main metropolitan area and the surrounding areas. It's the third largest city in the country in Spain, and it had one of the first AMI deployments with 700,000 smart meters already in 2009. What we do for Go Aigua, for Global Omnium in the city of Valencia, basically, is we integrate all of their real-time data from SCADAs, from IoT sensors in the field, pressure, flow, water quality. We integrate their GIS, their field operations, CMMS, other sensors, the ERP, and we integrate all that in a centric way, in a single data model in our cloud-based platform. And then we provide them with the necessary intelligence to basically do proactive non-revenue water reduction. For example, here in the city, we reduced in 3 years, 4 years, 40% of the non-revenue water that we had initially. Or automation of the operations to optimize energy, or integrate AMI analytics to be proactive in the way that they're looking at their non-revenue water and meter inaccuracies. Or, for example, the digital twin, something that we implemented some years ago in the year 2012 approximately, that is allowing them to have very proactive control of the network. It was key to the city to implement this data-centric architecture. It was from a point in time in which they were basically developing solutions that were monolithic, that were basically based on just their own vertical of data plus algorithms. We migrated to a data-centric architecture that was based on a layer of microservices that contains all the information and all the intelligence, and that basically contains a data-centric model that allows the utility to integrate any type of data from any type of technology, be it real-time, historical, and in any format. That is what allowed them to basically apply all these data cleansing, filtering, normalization, and finally the hydraulic model, so that they could have what they call digital twin in real time. No? And some of the use cases or applications basically of all these technologies, and these are just some of them, for example, with all this real-time hydraulic modeling plus sensors in real time plus analytics, one of the things they do is they only have 150 sensors, pressure and flow sensors, approximately in the entire city. But thanks to having this platform, they are able to have every 20 to 30 seconds, they have in real time the pressure values in every single node of the network, so that they can see whether pressure is within the parameters that they want it to be. And if it's not, they have alarms to basically trigger someone to do something in here. No, what we call virtual sensors. Another thing that they do, for example, this is a visualization, a SCADA-like visualization of the platform, because the operators wanted to see it in a SCADA. But it's very special because it is allowing them to not only see the real-time data, but they can also see simulations. What would happen if I close this valve? What would happen if I break this pipe? And this is in real time. This is basically an operation of serving 1.5 million people, where if they basically close this valve, the operator can go there and in real time close that valve and see what is the effect on the pressure in the entire population. So they can see, for example, here that they would have an increased pressurized area. And this is helping them a lot in their day-to-day operations, because doesn't only allow them to have a control and resiliency over the utility, but also is helping them train new operators, which was something very important during the pandemic, for example, no? When we had some people that were leaving or people that were at risk, we had to train an extra staff to basically learn this, how to use it. They also look at the future here. For example, this is the same panel that you were seeing before, but something else that they can do here is, for example, they can simulate the future because of integrating AMI data constantly. We have a very accurate forecast of what's going to happen in the entire utility in the next 24 hours. So they can see, okay, well, what's going to happen in the next 24 hours, hour by hour. If there's any alarm in the water tanks, for example, they can see it, and they can see every single variable in the future, so that they can go and play and change the commands and automate even the pumping schedules to reduce energy consumption, for example. something that they're doing in some of the pump stations. This is an example of a pump station where they automated the pumping schedule to minimize the total cost of energy according to the hourly price. And this is something that they are also doing on the wastewater side. They're also preventing, by mixing all this hydraulic modeling with real-time sensors, they're also looking at the wastewater side and looking at when are CSOs going to happen in the future. They have a combined system by integrating their hydraulic model with the real-time sensors and rain data. They're looking at where SSOs and CSOs are going to happen in the next 72 hours. So by having all this data, you can imagine how much benefit they are getting as a utility. But here are some numbers, for example. So in terms of non-revenue water, the city achieved about 35% reduced non-revenue water in a few years. 2020 was calculated in 1 billion gallons of unbilled water saved in the system. Customer experience and revenues, they improve customer experience a lot by 60% approximately in 4 years. And then finally, resiliency. What was more important to them is that they have had 0 outages in the last 10 years from the last report. So that was very important to them as a convincing strategy. So this was my presentation. Thank you very much for having me here. You feel free to contact me if you have any questions or you want to follow up at some point. Be happy to share our experience more in detail.
Thanks, Pablo. That was really great. I mean, you perfect time. So we have a couple of minutes. Any quick questions for Pablo from audience? Okay, looks like, let me see the chat box. Sometime you can ask in the chat also.
Maybe I could just ask Sunil, because
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Question I just asked before about the obvious resilience that's achieved with Smart One Water. Question for Pablo in today's, needs with the COVID pandemic and people needing more visibility. Has it been easier for people to adopt? Have you seen more rapid response to, the obvious solution you provide, or what hurdles are there that maybe we could help remove?
I've seen many utilities start thinking more structurally about this need for transformation, especially as revenues went down as a consequence in especially large cities, not only in the US, worldwide. So we've seen a lot of these utilities basically in the need to look at data to try to put silos together and try to revamp their revenues. That's one of the things that we've seen lately, for example.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, Pablo, I have one follow-up. We have 1 minute. So are you seeing any resistance to utilities sharing data, or they see a value sharing data with you guys?
There is resistance, certainly, especially when someone has been using that data for a very, very long time and they feel like they don't want to release it to anyone. But at the end, what we see is that we have a very step-by-step approach, which is very positive for utilities. So many times what we're doing with some of our clients, we go and we show them something that we can do with a very little amount of data, and then they see the benefit, and then they
right.
So that's something that we do very often. We're doing that approach, for example, with Mexico City, which is a very large utility that is using our platform. That's the way that we're helping them improve the non-revenue water problem that they have today.
Right. You're showing the value. Yeah, that's the key. Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Pablo. I really appreciate it.